Hey, what's going on, everyone? All right, so the Senate is moving to convict, or they're having hearings on convicting President Trump on his second impeachment. If he's convicted, it removes him from office, and it will not allow him to ever run for office again. So, and now he's out of office. I mean, President Biden has now been sworn in, and so we're hearing, all of these moves by the Democrats to convict President Trump. I think it just highlights how much they hate him. I mean, they're just driven by hatred for this man. And, they're saying he incited the riots. No, he did not. And also, too, don't get me started on that, because why is it now that Congress has a problem with riots? Because in the summertime, when Black Lives Matter was rioting all across our nation, they didn't have a problem with that at all. They were like, well, that's the voice of the people, and we push the people to the point of, no return, and what do you expect, America? And now you come to their house, though. You come to their house in Washington, and you take the speaker's dais, and you break into her office. Then they have a problem with that. Well, I got news for you. You can't have it both ways. You can't be okay with riots when they're breaking in to Aunt Millie's bakery shop in Kenosha, Wisconsin, and then not be okay with it when they're breaking into the people's house in Washington. Make up your mind. Don't be hypocritical. So, but the president didn't incite that. If you listen to the speech that they're saying incited the riots, he said, no, peacefully protest and do your patriotic duty. That's what he called for. So there was no incitement whatsoever. They just hate him to the nth degree, and that's why they're doing this. Now, Article 1, Section 3 and Clause 6 of the United States Constitution lays out how the Senate will convict the president after he's been impeached by the House. And it says, of the sitting president, the Supreme Court justice will oversee the conviction hearings of the impeached president. The problem is, Donald Trump is not a president anymore. He's out. So he's a private citizen. So they want to convict a private citizen. If they wanted to convict him, they should have moved while he was still the president. But the Senate didn't do that. So it's a moot point now. At this point, it's like it's water under the bridge. But they're still chomping at the bit to destroy this man that they hate so much. And I think the thing that I have seen over the last 4 years is how much hatred and vitriol has been thrown at this man named Donald Trump and people who support him. I mean, I know people, there's people even in my world that I've never even met before that hate my guts. And there's people even at our church that I've never met before. I mean, and even at my last church, there are people that I've never met before that have sent me some of the most hate-filled, terrible messages, whether it's on Facebook or they've talked about me to, just the hatred is unreal. It's demonic. Really, that's what it is. It's totally demonic. But regardless, it's like, man, I think if you sat down with me, you'd actually get to like me. But they won't sit down with you because they like hating you. And they know if they sit down with you and actually get to know you and know your heart, they may actually start to like you. And it's going to be really hard for someone to hate you when they know you. And so it's easy for them to keep you at an arm's distance so that they can keep hating because the hatred makes them feel good. And I think that's what we're seeing with President Trump. I think that's what we're seeing, the people who hate President Trump, they also hate his supporters. They hate people like me. But that tells me one thing. It tells me that we are on the side of truth. And going back to a biblical perspective, the world hated Jesus first. I mean, Jesus said, hey, you know what? Don't expect the world to like you, because guess what? They hated me first, so they're going to hate you. So anytime someone is speaking truth, especially a divine truth, the world's going to hate you. So my litmus test is, if people hate me, then I'm probably doing something right. So the moment that everyone starts to like me, that's going to be the time where I'm like, oh shoot, am I getting off track here from what God's perspective is? Because it seems like the world is starting to like me. If Hollywood is singing your praises, if the media is singing your praises, if academia is singing your praises, you're probably not on the side of God. That's my litmus test. So if they hate your guts, you're probably on the side of God. So take heart to everyone who feels like there's hatred out there and you're getting hate because of what you believe, because of the things that you know to be true, and when you speak out upon. If you're getting hate, hey, just know that you're probably getting it because you're speaking things that are true. And guess what? Truth in a world full of lies is hated. Truth in a world full of lies is hated. So all that to say, that's my thoughts on the conviction. They hate him. They hate President Trump, and they're gonna try to destroy this man because he's a threat. He's a threat to the elitists, and it's both Republicans and Democrats that hate him. I mean, look how fast Mitch McConnell turned. I mean, can you talk about a Judas? Holy cow! Like, he threw President Trump under the bus so fast. It wasn't even like the next day, and he was like already calling for his, resignation, 25th Amendment, impeachment, conviction. And if it wasn't for President Trump going to Kentucky 2 times on behalf of Mitch McConnell in this last election cycle, I don't think Mitch McConnell would have won. And that just goes to show you that loyalty is hard to find in the world of politics. Self-preservation is what everybody believes in Washington, if you haven't figured that out by now. And President Trump was different than all of those leaders because he wasn't trying to self-preserve. I mean, he had the world on a stick. I mean, he was a billionaire. He was a Hollywood celebrity. He was a jet setter. I mean, the whole world loved Donald Trump before he got into politics. He didn't have anything to gain. He had everything to lose. Talk about the opposite of self-preservation. It was like almost self-destruction going into politics. And that tells me one thing. It says, man, this guy, he's either crazy or he actually loved America and thought it best to lay down his own self-interest to serve the country that he loves. And I think it's the latter. I think he loved America. I think he was a threat to the establishment and to the elite. And even now, you're still seeing the establishment come after him. And that's both Republicans and Democrats. And I tell you what, I'm a real Republican. I'm a true Republican. But our leadership in the Republican Party has totally been taken over by rhinos. Rhino is Republican in name only. They've been taken over by rhinos. They've been taken over by Democrats who are acting like Republicans, or Republicans who are acting like Democrats, or however you want to put it. Either way, they're not real Republicans. And so President Trump was a threat to those people. And so I see it not only on a national level, I see it on a state and local level too. The Republican Party has lost its principles, its foundation of the principles that it was built on. So we need to find true Republicans, good Republicans, and we need to run them and support them in these upcoming election years. And don't buy into any politician's rhetoric a few months before a campaign. You have got to do your research on these people. Look at their track record. Look at what they've been saying for years. Don't just buy into what they're doing on the campaign trail because they're tickling your ears. They're telling you the things that you want to hear so they can get elected. And then they get into power and they totally abandon everything. We want to find the leaders in politics that don't want to be in politics. Those are the people that we got to find, and we got to petition them to run for office. The best leaders are the ones that don't want the power. And so that's what we got to do as America, as people, and honestly on both sides of the aisle. Find the people who really truly love this nation and don't really want to go into politics. Because those are going to be the people that are great leaders and that don't care about self-preservation. They care about doing what's right, no matter the cost. So anyway, that's my thoughts on what's going on in Washington and politics right now. So love you guys. Have a great rest of your week. Peace.